23, it's 7:30, and I'm calling the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting of City of Clawson to order. Everybody please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Nick, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Carpenter?
Here.
Mr. Hildebrand?
Here.
Ms. Perkins?
Here.
Ms. Cindy Smith?
Here.
Ms. Diane Smith?
Here. Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is the approval of the regular meeting minutes from October 19th of 2023. They were in your packet. Are there any discussions, additions, comments?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes from the October 19th, 2023 meeting as listed in the package.
Second. Okay. I have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay. Nick, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Cindy Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Diane Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hildebrand?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Motion carried. The next item on the agenda is for 646 Bellevue, a variance from the requirements of section 3.1.b.4 to build an attached garage with a 10.14-foot rear setback, exceeding the 35-foot minimum rear setback requirement, and a variance from the requirements of 4.1.g to build the attached garage recessed 1.83 feet from the primary front facade, failing to satisfy the 5-foot minimum requirement. Is there somebody here to speak to this item? You just approach the podium and state your name and address.
My name is Matthew Stroud. I own Christopher Thomas Construction, which is at 616 South Rochester Road in Clawson, Michigan.
Okay.
So we're a local contractor also,
Okay.
within Clawson. All right,
Okay.
I'm going to explain.
Yep.
All right, so this is, you can kind of see in your packets also, but this is the existing home is in green, and the existing garage is in yellow. And what we're proposing is to build an attached garage, move the garage further away from the back property, and move it up towards the, closer to the front of the home. So in the yellow is the new garage. It is
Excuse me.
for a,
Could you just please talk in the mic so the public can hear you? I'm pulling up the plans right now, so it's on the screen. Thank you.
So the yellow part is the new garage, which is going to be attached to the house opposed to a separate garage. So our client here is, they're both retired, and they would like an attached garage opposed to a detached garage, and like to fit a minimum of 3 cars in the garage. That's why it's deeper here than you see. In order to fit 2 cars, we need 35 feet deep. So that's the distance of this. That's why the garage is deep, as you can see here. So that's the house and that's the garage. The 2-foot setback from the house opposed to the 5-foot is because we need the length of 2 cars. So 1 car next to the other, which is a minimum of 30 to 35 feet. So that's the distance between here, and they're going to fit 1 car in this area. They moved to Clawson about 2 years ago, right? Yeah, 2 years ago, and I have signatures also from their local, their neighbors, which I can show to all of you, that approved everything. And also the neighbor to the south of them is very close to the property line here. So we're going to try to keep 10 foot away from everything. So there's a 10-foot setback around the garage. So that's what we're showing here. So it's going to be a very much more updated home. We are still keeping it 1 story. It's going to be a nice brick home inside and siding around it. Yeah, that's basically it. I can show you the signatures here if you want to see it.
Okay, yeah, if you just want to, I guess, give them to her and then she can pass them down.
And that shows the ordinance also in the back here, which, letter that was signed, so. Yeah.
So these are the neighbors directly around the building, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
And one of the neighbors is here tonight, too. So it's kind of a unique lot. The house is not even 30 feet from the property line as is. It's only 26 and a half. So as you can tell, it's not really a corner lot. It's kind of sandwiched in between two other lots. But it's kind of a long, skinny lot. So, but the big thing for them is the garage. That's the big thing. So. Yep.
So do you have an elevation of what it's going to look like with the addition?
Is it in that?
I don't think it was.
I think it was part of the packet material.
It was not, there actually were two pieces in the packet that were from 14 Mile Project, so,
That was part of the minutes.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, but there wasn't an elevation because I was looking for that as well.
Yeah, it is when you look at the house, it is still gonna have a nice long porch on the front, and the garage door is on the front of the house. So it's gonna look like how it was, but with newer brick, updated brick, hardy siding, that kind of stuff. The roof lines are very similar to how it was, to how it's existing, I should say.
So the roof line on the addition's not going to be higher than the existing house?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, it's still a single-story ranch, the
Okay.
home is. Do you want me to find that, do you want me to find the elevation? I can see if I can pull it up.
Sure.
All right. Yeah. I forget his name.
Architect's name. Oh, that's the surveyor.
Nicholas.
Eric.
Nicholas.
Eric.
John, I sent it over to John. Did you see John's email?
You did submit elevations?
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything's been submitted to John.
Excuse me. This is like what our architect sent us.
So this is Leah. Leah's the
Hi.
homeowner.
Okay, if you could just introduce yourself and your address?
Hi, my name's Leah Molesky. My address is 646 Bellevue Avenue, Clawson,
Okay.
Michigan.
Okay,
It's not-
okay, you want to just start with her and pass it on down?
That is the front.
So it's a more modern look, darker brick, nice
Yeah.
garage door up front. Definitely updating the house quite a bit from what it
Okay,
was.
thank you.
So it's all new brick, new hardy siding, you know what I mean? It's really gonna make that area look nice.
Everything's gonna be new, so it's new windows, new siding, new brick, new
Right.
roof, new, literally everything.
Yep.
Complete
So the
tear down.
thought
of the
is
Go ahead, Cindy, I'm sorry.
front to back car parking is the reason for the extended length of the garage? Okay.
Exactly. And keeping with 10 feet in the back, and pulling the garage off the back neighbor is to, sorry, I should talk into this, so we can get two cars back to back and then one car next to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking about a complete tear down of the current garage, is that right?
Yes, the existing garage would be torn down.
Torn down? Okay.
Yep. And as they're both retired, so they would like to walk out the garage and walk out of the house into the garage.
I don't blame them. I would love that.
Yeah,
I'd love to be retired, too.
Ditto.
absolutely. And you can see how the property in this picture here is, that property to the left. Walk over there, okay? This is actually their property, all this here, up to like 8 inches from that garage.
Oh, is the home, is,
Yeah,
is
that's all
Leah's.
our,
So the property goes from here all the way to that fenced-in area right there is part of their property. It's not the neighbor's.
Okay.
So the neighbor's garage is literally 8 inches from their property line, which is here.
yeah, their driveway actually, when we did our survey, is like, our property survey marker is in their driveway.
Yeah, pretty much.
oh,
So it's weird. So we're actually, it goes on an angle, so we're gonna be further from them because we're trying to do 10 feet off of that, but then as our property line goes back, we gain another 2 feet from their property line.
It's kind of a weird line if you
And, yeah, it's really weird when they put the fence, oh,
see here how the property
when they
line-
put our fence in, it,
Now it goes at an angle
I don't know,
there.
it's not straight
I
on the
see.
property
I see.
line. It comes
Yeah,
across
the
and
house is
over.
here, and then the garage is there. See how it gets bigger? Yeah.
okay, I think they may want to see it.
I'm looking at the
So-
printed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Out
there you
of
go.
the attestations that were provided from the neighbors, is one of those neighbors this white garage to the left?
Yes.
Yes, Mitch
It's,
Mitchell is on there. He
Okay.
is on,
Well, I'm just worried about your garage and his garage and the draining of the two coming together? Or is that where you're saying you're
We're
trying to
still
build in the
we're still
10 feet?
We're
We're
still 10 feet from the property line.
Because one of the variances you're seeking is for the overhang? For the 2 feet? No? Or am I reading it wrong?
That's for the front.
it's from where the
So
front of the house
code- your
ends to
code
where the
reads that
garage.
you need 5 feet from your front of your house.
From the, okay,
to
from the front
garage.
facade, yes, yes.
And we're asking for a little less than 2 feet, just so we can get two cars deep in the garage and still have 10 feet from the back of the garage to the property line. From behind it, because right now it's only, I think it's only 3 feet. We're giving them, so we're moving the garage 10 feet from the property line, from the back property line.
Yeah.
I can kind of show you here, see how close the garage is here?
Mm-hmm.
We're moving it 10 feet back. It's still not a
Okay.
huge garage.
Okay. Mhm.
By-
Any questions for the applicant?
Have you guys worked with the planning commission yet for the site plan approval?
A little bit, yeah.
They won't have to, so site plans are for commercial properties, and then, so plot plans is all strictly just administrative by our building official. So whenever their building permits are applied for, it'll go through that review, but because they're having a variance away from the ordinance, it comes to this body first, because a building permit can't be approved as is, because it's different from what our ordinance states.
So
So you-
as the city officials, when they're approving the building as it's being built, are they working with drainage and things like that?
So with grading, yeah, because our ordinance says you're not allowed to have your property graded toward anyone else's property. You need to keep your stormwater on your own property. But when it comes to building permits, yes, they're going to work hand in hand with our building official once they apply for everything.
Okay.
And we'll go through the proper protocol, but we had to come to this board first.
Okay, thank you.
And we will be having it all professionally landscaped afterwards. Once everything is done, we're having a professional landscaper come in who will be able to
It looks
like,
beautiful.
yeah, I hope it'll turn out good.
Wow.
No, I know my house will turn out good. I know the house will turn out good. I'm talking about the
She's kidding.
landscaping. But he'll be able to be, do
No,
all
the
that.
grading, yeah. The
Do all
grading's-
that.
And that's what Brian Vargason is, I've built many homes in
Can you
Clawson.
just speak into the mic?
I've built many homes in Clawson, and Brian Vargason, the head building inspector, is all about that, making sure the grading is right. And I've worked with him on many other homes in Clawson, and we work together on it. And it's still, what he likes about it is it's farther away from the property lines. You know what I mean? It's, especially the back of the garage. It's 10 feet, whereas now it's only 2.5 or 3 feet. Yeah, yeah, to the fence,
Far
right,
enough for my grandchildren to go behind. That's about it.
yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant?
I would like to, I don't know how to, I would like to see that elevation again. ZBA, or planning wanted to make sure that we as a board made sure that that front facade garage door was no more than 25% of the whole dwelling. And I don't know if they have math on that, or if we can just eyeball it, but.
Andy, did you?
It looked more than 25%.
So I can just explain the ordinance requirements, so that is
Looks like
part
a
of the-
third.
Yeah, it's part of the 4.1G requirement that requires that no greater than 25% of the entire front facade of the dwelling be comprised of the entrance to the garage, so AKA a garage door.
Right.
That could definitely be a condition of approval if that, because it does not appear that that was explicitly documented in the material submitted. So you could make that a condition of approval, that just the applicant confirms that that number via an elevation drawing, that number is less than 25%.
I got you.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see that, because we already, yeah, I'm not gonna go into it, but.
Generally, looking at the math, it looked like if there's about 9 foot high of facade and roughly like a 7.5 foot tall garage
Yeah,
door.
it's 7 by,
It would probably work, based on my rough math that I did on my own. But it would be nice to see that as a official.
yeah, it's a 7 by 16 door.
7 foot high door?
7 foot
Okay.
tall, 16 foot wide.
Okay. So it's not likely to meet that 25%, but it would be good to have that confirmed from a staff perspective, I assume,
Yeah,
as a condition, potential condition.
absolutely.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Also, it appears that we're still gonna be within the permeable surface language.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it's basically the same size as the garage they already have, and they're adding that little bit in the back.
Yep. well,
Okay,
we-
33%, I think you said, something like that,
Yeah, I
okay.
did some calculations, and I know the applicant did provide calculations actually on the plan, which is really helpful, and it looked like all of those are well represented. The one calculation actually was the one calculation that says building coverage including deck and patio. Those don't actually count as part of the building in terms of the
Right.
building coverage definition. So actually, the true building coverage amount is at 33%.
That's what I thought you said, yeah, okay, good, I just wanted to reiterate.
Okay. There are other questions for the applicant?
That was all I had.
Okay.
But I definitely, if we could, make sure we put that front elevation, thank you.
Yep, thank you. So now, your intention is to park all the cars in the garage, is not leave any of them outside?
Is
Okay.
to keep our front of our house nice and clean
Okay.
and not jumbled up with cars.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Andy, is there anything you wanted to go over regarding the two variances?
It sounds like you've asked some good questions, and I think you covered both of the main concerns I put in the staff report in green. So I really don't need to dwell on anything else, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Are there any questions for Andy? Nick, I don't see it on here, but do I have to open up a public hearing?
Yeah. Yes, you do.
Okay. Are there any questions before I open up the public hearing? Okay. All
I
right.
actually do.
Okay.
I just want to ask, I know that we've focused on the 25% of the front facade and the garage door. If it's, after further investigation, if that's realized that it is more than the 25%, does that part of the variance request have to be reworded and decided on, I guess, maybe is the
Yeah.
best way to talk about it?
Yeah, they would need to reapply, and the notices would need to be resent out to the neighborhood, and it's a new variance that would need to be decided on. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully it can be confirmed about the 25% rule, but if it is something that needs to be done, then they'll need to come back at a future meeting.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. It is 7:51. I'm going to open up a public hearing. Is there anybody wishing to speak about this case today? Okay. Any other public comments not related to this case? Okay, there being no one here to speak to this case or anything else, I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:52. Andy and Nick, would you recommend we take these, vote on each of them separately, or vote on them together?
I would say separate is best.
Okay.
Yeah. And that being said, I think the condition regarding the percentage might be better for the second variance, just because it's more closely related to that standard, the 4.1G standard. So it just might be best to put in some sort of condition of approval if that's where you're willing to
Okay.
to do under that variance.
I guess I do have one more question for the applicant. How far does that front porch extend out from the house?
I think it's like 4.5, I think it's 4.5 feet.
It's like about 5.7.
It looks like it's about 5.75
Okay.
feet in the
Top of my head.
survey, in the plot plan,
Okay.
right?
It's just extending to the front
Oh.
of the other, it's not going, it's already,
Yeah, it is 5.75.
it's existing.
Right.
So it's just going longer, it's not going towards the front anymore than what it is, oh, it's gone.
Yeah, that's why I was asking how
Yeah.
far it
Yeah,
is
so
right
the
now.
existing porch is staying, and
Yeah.
we're just adding from the existing house over about 10 feet.
Okay,
But nothing's coming out closer to the house, it's just expanding.
okay.
It's just the
From
garage is
north to
moving
south.
up, coming up
Yeah,
to
it's just
meet
going
it all.
north to south opposed to east and west when you're looking at the house.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve the variance requested from the requirements of 3.1B.4 to build an attached garage with a 10.14-foot rear setback exceeding the 35-foot minimum rear setback requirement, based on the findings of fact that the practical difficulties are exceptional and peculiar to the property of the person requesting the variance, and the results from the conditions which do not exist generally throughout the city. Secondly, the practical difficulties which will result from a failure to grant the variance include substantially more than mere inconvenience or an inability to attain a higher financial return. Number 3, allowing the non-use dimensional variance will result in a substantial justice being done, considering the public benefits intended to secured by this article, the individual hardships that would be suffered by a failure of the board to grant a variance, and the rights of others whose property would be affected by the allowance of the variance. Fourth, the variance did not arise from the actions of the applicant or the previous landowner. And 5, the requested variance is not based solely on financial need or circumstances. And I'd also like to comment that the surrounding neighbors did attest that they saw the items and they approved.
Okay. Second. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Jennifer. I have a motion and a second. Nick, could you please call the roll?
Ms. Diane Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hildebrandt?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Cindy Smith?
Yes.
Okay, motion carried.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to approve the second variance from the requirements of 4.1G to build the attached garage recessed from 1.83 feet from the primary front facade, failing to satisfy the 5-foot minimum requirement, with the condition that the proposed height from the applicant to ensure the compliance with the zoning ordinance. They also need to confirm that 4.1.G is met and that no greater than 25% of the front facade of the dwelling unit shall be comprised of entrance to the garage. Any other additions?
Does that,
She'll need to state the findings.
Nick and Andy, does that seem like
Yeah,
it
if
covered?
those two are the, I believe you said the two contingencies, you do also have to state the findings of fact, again, for the motion.
Okay.
And the findings of fact, again, number 1, the practical difficulties are exceptional and peculiar to the property of the person requesting the variance and the results from conditions which do not generally exist throughout the city. Secondly, the practical difficulties which will result from a failure to grant the variance include substantially more than a mere inconvenience or inability to attain a higher financial return. Third, allowing the non-use dimensional variance will result in a substantial justice being done, considering the public benefits intended to be secured by this article, the individual hardships that will be suffered by a failure of the board to grant the variance, and the rights of others whose property would be affected by the allowance of the variance. Fourthly, the variance did not arise from the actions of the applicant or the previous landowner. And fifth, the requested variance is not based solely on financial need or circumstances. And sixth, again, the local neighbors attested that they saw the plans and they approved.
Okay. Thank you, Cindy. Second. Okay. Before we take a vote, I just want to be clear on what those two conditions are. Can you say those again, Cindy?
The condition that the no greater than 25% of the front facade of the dwelling unit shall be comprised of the entrance to a garage,
Okay.
and that the first part of the standard of 4.1G is met. Correct? Or is there another one?
What's,
I mean, that sounds.
what would the standard of 4.1.G be?
So
The 5-foot minimum required setback.
yeah, so the first part of that condition, was that the height of the overall, I'm sorry, could you repeat that first part of that condition? Because I want to,
The variance from the requirements of 4.1G to build the attached garage recessed 1.83 feet from the front primary facade, failing to satisfy the 5-foot minimum requirement.
Yeah, that sounds like the variance requested. And then the condition was the proposed height shall comply with the ordinance. And then the second condition was to confirm that the first part of the standard of 4.1G is met, that no greater than 25% of the front facade of the dwelling unit shall be comprised of the entrance to the garage. I believe that sounds correct and in line with the intent of as a
Yes.
proper
Okay.
condition. Yep.
Yes,
Okay, thank you for clarifying. Is that what you were intending, Cindy?
yes.
Okay, okay. Sound okay to you, Jennifer?
Yes, I still second.
Okay, great. All right, I have a motion and a second. Nick, could you please call the roll?
Mr. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mr. Hildebrandt?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Ms. Cindy Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Diane Smith?
Yes. Motion carried. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Okay, next item on the agenda is other business. Nick, is there anything to discuss?
We do not have any other business.
Okay. All right. Next item is the staff report and training opportunities.
Just a brief report tonight. So, as I've been trying to do is provide updates on every variance that you guys pass, that you as a board pass each time. And so as the projects get approved, like the ones at 971 East 14 Mile, and it's approved, is there a timeline that you want to have those on in the packet, or once it's approved on there for one staff report, do you want me to remove it? What's the preference on that going forward once a variance is approved? If there is a preference.
I like to continue to see them until I guess there's at some point where they're close to being done, but, because it seems like a lot of those on there are putzing along, so.
So, for example, 97D1 East 14 Mile, that was the roundabout driveway on 14 Mile.
Yep.
So that project is fully approved by our building official, and this is the first time that we've had the opportunity to give you the staff report. So now that you're aware that the project is approved, how many more meetings going forward, do you want that on the packet, or just the one, and then do you want it removed? Just for your guys' leisure.
I see what you're saying.
I don't know if I explained that well the first time, sorry.
I guess I would be curious when the project's done.
Okay,
Yeah, maybe you
Yeah.
don't, no updates, but complete.
okay. Yeah, I'll
That-
try and make it, maybe I'll bold it or have a different shade. I'm trying to make these reports a little more easier to follow than just a bunch of words on paper. So, any recommendations that you guys have for preference would be great.
Okay.
Whatever creates less work for you.
Well, my job is to make sure the five of you are satisfied with the updates, so that's why I'm asking, but thank you.
I think just knowing the completion.
Okay.
You know, if it's completed or not, or, you know, if it was halted for any reason, you know, that kind of thing, a status on the project would be helpful.
Understood. Thank you.
Because a variance expires a year after if the permit is not pulled, is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
And then there is time restraints with if work isn't done after the permit's pulled. But with what we've experienced over the last 2 or 3 years with supply chain, we've been a bit lenient with some of that, if they can provide examples if something's on back order or whatnot. But we try and hold our builders to that deadline.
Okay.
Right, but I don't want to see a house sitting half-built for 3 years.
And we're going to avoid that going forward,
Oh,
absolutely.
So, yeah. If we could tighten that up, that'd be good.
We've been tightening that up in the last, 12 to 18 months. So
Yeah.
It's been going well.
Awesome, thank you.
Good. Okay. Anything else, Nick?
Yep, just one quick thing. So we're not scheduled to have any cases in the first meeting for January, but I would still like to have that meeting for the organizational as the bylaws state, and then also maybe provide some type of brief training just to make the meeting worth it, have everyone come out, and maybe a good refresher to start the year wouldn't hurt. So we'll probably have a brief presentation just about variances and what it truly means for the practical difficulties to be met, et cetera.
Okay.
So plan on having, I don't know the date, I apologize off the top of my head, that is going to be January 18th. So we'll plan on meeting
Okay.
for maybe about an hour to get everything settled in.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, anything else for the board? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
And I'm trying to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 All right, thank you.